Intellectually, folks, our president is an anti-colonialist. That's what he studied in college. That's what philosophically he believes. Emotionally, he's a third worlder. In fact, in school, at the various schools he was in, he said he prefers to hang with the third world folks, the poets, the Marxists, all of these individuals. Operationally, this individual who is an anti-colonialist and a third worlder, operationally, this country, the voters in the United States of America, operationally, have put him in a position to radically transform and change the structure of the United States of America. And indeed, he has done that. And not in a closet out of sight anywhere, right before everyone on network TV, prime time. He did it, and you got to live with it now.
Welcome to the new world of Barack Obama.
Yep, welcome. Hey, we knew this was going to happen back in 2008. We predicted it was going to happen. Many conservatives did. But the sad part is, many on the left, the leftists, love it. I mean, many people were dancing in the streets last night as through a stroke of the pen.
Dancing a mamba.
The stroke of the pen, the demographics in this country, the economic metrics in this country, the law in this country, the Constitution in this country were radically transformed as he said he would do. 21st November, Friday.
Tom, I got a question for you.
What's that? What's your question?
Last night, you sent out a very pertinent tweet about 30 seconds after he started speaking, and you said, Lex, Rex, Rex, Lex. Explain that, would you please? Because we had a lot of comments on that.
Yeah, Rex, Lex, and Lex, Rex. Latin terms, very simple, but they have in the world of philosophy, and I have a background in that crazy stuff, the argument, the philosophers and the theologians have argued through the centuries, is it Lex Rex or Rex Lex? Lex stands for law, Rex stands for king. The argument is, in a civilized culture, does Rex make Lex? Does the king make the law? And therefore the king is above the law and others are subservient to the king's dictates? Or conversely, as a better structured society, Lex Rex. The law is above even the highest individual in that particular civilized country. It's a classic argument in the world of law and civics and philosophy. And we in the West, and in particular we here in the United States, have opted for Rex Lex, for Lex Rex, until last night, for Rex Lex. For Lex Rex, the law is above the king. That's been turned on its head, radically transformed last night, where Rex, the king, is above Lex, the law. You saw it. I mean, what the president has done goes beyond the pale in terms of circumventing and undermining the constraints of the Constitution. But he did it, and he did it. You know what? He did it in such a beautiful way because we're in a postmodern world right now. And in a modern world, individuals make decisions based upon evidence, based upon logical consistency, based upon intellectual coherence, based upon the fitting of the facts. Historically, in the West, when we have to make a decision, we analyze all this information and we present ideas or we present considerations and we evaluate the facts in light of the logical systems we use, Aristotelian systems. A cannot equal non-A, the logical consistency.
Right.
And we say at the end of all of that, this is the right thing because the facts and truth indicate it to be so. In a postmodern world, the easiest way to understand this is the criteria for determining what's true has shifted from the rational, cognitive, factual basis to what feels good. This is
Right.
postmodern. what seems to be. And when you get a performer and this president, let's hear Hail to the Chief one more time. When you get a president, a Rex, a king, who has the capability to perform as this individual does. Nice looking man, nice smile, nose, oh, there it is.
Nice crease in his pants.
It suits beautifully, beautifully tailored. Knows the mannerisms of delivering a teleprompter message. And when you have a series of primarily low information voters, he can persuade them against the facts. That's what occurred yesterday. And now where are we going with this?
Well,
I'm saying that we have, how many days left? 718 days until November 8th, 2016. Kill that crazy music.
it's almost
We have
over.
718 days until the 8th of November, the second Tuesday in November 2016, when the election for determining whether or not Armageddon will come occurs. We have a lot of work to do in the next 2 years to make sure Obama doesn't damage this country more than he already has, and that somebody who believes the way he does not get in office.
Well,
Hi, everybody. Yes.
one of the things that I want to correct people on, if anybody out there still believes that this was about immigration, it was nothing, zero, absolutely nothing to do with immigration of a Barack Obama making those laws. It was simply him trying to make himself relevant again, and he was just mad. He's mad that
He's pissed at everybody,
he got-
man.
he was
Sticking
mad
his
at the
finger
voters.
in the eye of the country.
He was mad. He was angry at the voters. He's angry at the Republicans. You say, well, you think I'm not relevant? You don't think I have no more power anymore? You just watch this.
Screw you.
Here's
Watch
11.
screw you.
Here's 11 million more Democrats.
That last night was a big old screw you. I don't have to worry about you people. I don't have to worry about your stupid Constitution. I don't have to worry about you Republicans. I'm above all of you, and I'm going to prove it by making this edict.
I'm the Rex. Let's see that Rex shot.
Yep.
If
It
you're
was
watching,
it was so hard to watch that. I couldn't go more than 10, 15
very
seconds at a time without screaming at the TV
because
to
you're
dispute.
functioning in a modern society, a modern thought pattern where facts assembled have to have a factual, logical conclusion. These folks that love this guy don't operate
This
that
guy
way.
is the most arrogant, omnipotent person we've ever had in the White House. And I'm holding back my tongue, trying not to say some other things.
He makes Richard Nixon look like a nun.
A saint. He really does. And that's what's a frustrating
We've said
thing
it
about
before that if you take all these scandals, it makes Watergate look like
a break-in?
a parking
A break-in?
ticket.
That's
It
all you
makes
got?
it literally. I mean, if you take Fast and Furious, Benghazi, IRS, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
And we
The
haven't got the ones
least of those three was far greater than Watergate.
And how about Extortion 17? That hasn't even gotten any play.
All the angst, ladies and gentlemen, here at 14 minutes after 4 o'clock on WSBR. Boca Raton, Florida, 740. Tom Trento, your host. The guys are on the other side.
I'm so angry, Tom.
All the angst you're hearing here is exactly what President Obama wanted to do, and he did it extremely well.
Yep.
And, the framers put together a very good system. We have a separation of powers. We have a tripartite system that has checks and balances. But the given was that in one of those tries of the tripartite, whether it's on the legislative side, Congress, whether it's on the judicial side, the courts, federal courts and Supreme Court, or whether it's on the executive side, the White House, one of those tries at least will have people operating in a modern philosophical context where facts and logic are essential to decision making. Once you get individuals that are politically motivated, and the Republicans are guilty of this also,
Right.
and they're concerned for reelection and placement at the Old Ebbitt's Grill and the best tables and all of this, and they sell for a few pieces of silver their high calling as a public official. Once that happens in one of the tries of the tripartites, then you get a country moving toward the banana type of republic that Woody Allen talked about in Bananas, you
right.
know?
Well, Tom, you really brought up a really great point over the years, and I think this is worth repeating right now. You kept talking about the Weltanschauung, his belief, his worldview, his way he looks at the world, and it's not your opinion, Tom. These are his writings out of Dreams from My Father, out of a million different documented sources that people have seen the same thing. You kept saying that his worldview matters because if you don't believe in the Constitution, the constitutional
But
republic.
he taught the Constitution. He was a
Oh,
constitutional.
please, come on.
Yeah, he was
That
taught it,
guy's as much of a constitutional professor as I am.
and the Constitution is what makes us a republic. The Constitution is above the president.
Lex.
Above,
The Constitution is Lex,
Lex.
the law.
the law is above the president.
Not
and the
last
con-
night in
But
Washington.
go quickly about his his Weltanschauung.
Worldview.
Yeah.
Well, if I were teaching this class and I had the students say, what are the motivating elements in President Obama's life through his academic career? They would conclude that Islam and Africa were serious motivating factors.
Right.
By his own admission, the dreams of my father, his father's from where?
Well, that could be Frank Marshall
Kenya.
Davis.
Yeah, well, going with what he says, his father's from Kenya. Last time I looked, what continent is that in?
Africa.
Africa. So he has a propensity and a consideration for all things Africa. He's mentioned that. And what religion was he brought up in for the first part of his life?
Islam.
In Islam. So
That makes him an apostate, which is something that is never really brought up in world politics, is that this man should have a fatwa on his head.
But he doesn't.
it sounds like it's some sort of Friday here.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is a Friday.
What kind of Friday?
What
What
kind-
kind of Friday?
Oh, it would
It'll
be
be
Jumping
Juma Freaky Friday. Hello, everybody. It's Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday, where we bring you all things about the religion of peace as they're celebrating today. Their objectives in taking over the world and killing Jews and Christians.
Oh, it was a very fantastic week.
But if I had to have those students say what motivating factors, they'd have several, but two dynamic motivating factors in President Obama's life are his African roots and his Islamic roots. Then I would ask him the question, where does the United States Constitution fit into
any of
Islam or Africa? Tell me where it fits in there.
None.
No place. So his
What are you talking
worldview
about?
doesn't have room for the U.S. Constitution. But efficaciously or operationally, if he wants to bring an Islamic African worldview to the West, which he said he wanted to do because Western colonialism is the cause. I didn't know we'd be getting into this stuff today.
Yeah.
Western colonialism is the cause of world wars, the cause of the instability throughout the world, the cause of non-parity between countries. If he wants to straighten that out, he's got to learn something about the Constitution. So what do you become?
Constitutional attorney.
Aha! Now you have the best of both worlds. You know the enemy's doctrine, the Constitution, and you know your doctrine, Islam and Africa.
And now you
I beg to differ. I don't think he knows any of those three things.
Well,
I don't think he knows anything about the Constitution,
I think he
anything about Islam, and very little about Africa.
All he has to do, as Abraham Lincoln has said, is to know enough about it to fool the next person.
Yeah, I think in this
So what party do you go-
society, he knows enough to fool the average schmuck on the street.
What party do you join if you want low information people, or you want people primarily concerned about themselves?
The Socialist Party.
Democratic
Socialist
Yeah,
Party.
yeah. So he is a perfect storm. Now, I agree with you that in and of himself, it would be very difficult for him to navigate his way through all of this, but he's never been alone. From day one with Frank Marshall Davis
and Valerie Jarrett.
and Valerie Jarrett, a little older, he's had handlers and managers who saw these dynamics in him: Islam, African thinking, and slickness to earn a degree. You know how he got in Harvard?
And his America hatred.
Yeah, so the handlers said, we got a guy here. If we ever get him elected, he could do some damage.
Yeah.
Takbir!
Circa Washington, D.C., 20 November 2014. Here we are. We completed the circle.
And
we died at the end.
How many
drank the
reports?
coffee.
How many reports have we had coming from diehard Democrats? I mean, not us right wing loonies, right? Diehard Democrats have come and said, this guy is out of control. He is an egomaniac. He is drunk on power. And that is what his motive is.
Enough is enough. I agree, Mark. 70 years I was voting one way, and this year I said enough is enough.
Yep.
This man knows no bounds.
Schmucky.
Yeah, Schmucky Putznick for voting the right way.
Mark,
I feel like a gorilla was lifted from my shoulders when I pulled the lever for the Republican Party this year. I could breathe.
underscoring Mark's point, I was watching some of the news last night, and what was interesting, I shifted over to some of the MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, you know, those people. Even on some of those shows, they'd have the Democrat pundits,
right?
And because they do, some of these people still have to have some integrity to be able to sign a contract.
Not on MSNBC, they don't.
Well, not Brian Williams.
It was CNN, actually.
Okay.
They said, look, we agree with what he's trying to accomplish, but he certainly went about it the wrong way. He has circumvented the Constitution.
Yes.
And, you know, he didn't do this when he had a Democratic Congress. He didn't do it before the election. He did it now. It obviously indicates something political. Even the Democrat pundits are saying,
the timing of it is absolutely the most atrocious and the most telling part of it. To do it after the elections, because he knows that as bad as the Democrats lost, if he did this before, they would have lost even worse.
Sure, absolutely.
He knows once the new Congress
and he would have been blamed for all their loss more than
right. He would have been blamed for all the losses because he knows the American public showed up. It wasn't the 62% that didn't vote that he listens to. Okay. Then he certainly couldn't wait till a new Congress came in because they would never come anywhere close to what he signed last night. So the filthy, slimy way he did this in a
open and transparent manner on prime time
he was
TV.
open and transparent about it. He did it in a lame duck conference because he knows there's no way in hell that waiting for new Congress he could get anything close to this.
What?
The guy is an outlaw. He is an outlaw.
Real quick, this was a full attempt to make himself relevant again because you have to understand how egotistical and self-centered this guy is. The media was saying that, oh, he's irrelevant now. He's a lame duck. He has no more power anymore. He's not going to be able to do anything for the next 2 years. The Republicans are in charge. Da 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 da. And he just took that internal and says, oh yeah, I'll show you. You just watch me now.
When
and he's going to. Oh, by the way, and he's going to get worse. You think this is bad? It's going to keep ramping up and up and up and up. I'm sorry.
No, it's going to get worse. And when he got to the point where he turned to the Republican Congress and said, "You don't like this? Pass a law." You know, you can see that anger in him coming out.
He is a child. Earlier, when you said third world, I thought you were going to say third grade.
Well, every time.
His Weltanschauung, his worldview, is third world. I mean,
and third world dictators.
Yeah, he preferred to hang and live and think with the people who were third worlders. And just simply because you have a $3,000
and you look at the people he hung out with, who lionized Chairman Mao, and
Che, all these people. Yeah.
I hung out with the radical Marxists and the radical feminists.
And who those radical Marxists and everybody always put in power? They put in dictatorial people who have a total self-absorbed. He's living a dream right now. And
I like two things.
Sorry,
two comments, and then I want to wrap up our piece on this with what do we do? What does the country do? But hold that.
One other quick point is he's every time, and this is the other important thing to recognize about him. Every time he gets down, he doubles down. Whenever he gets put on under pressure, he doubles up. He ramps it up. So the more pressure he gets put on for like to stop this, I'm not going to approve any more of your congressional appointment. You know, the Congress is not going to approve any more of your legislative appointments.
That's Valerie talking.
Oh, it is.
Well, what is going to happen is
see that.
he's going to start ramping it up. Every time you come after him, he doubles down and ramps it back up. So be prepared, folks. It's going to get much worse.
Going to get worse.
I'm sorry.
Here's two issues that bothered me quite a bit, and through the years of my life, I've done a lot of communication. I've taught speaking and
Right.
analyzed speaking and how do you move public opinion and all of that. And he did a masterful job. And typically you make a statement and then that you can get buy-in from the majority of the people listening. Now, it may not be factually accurate, but there's sort of an emotional hook there. Then you close the deal to persuade somebody watching with an anecdote that underscores what you're saying. So you have them take this illogical leap from a factual basis to an emotional basis. And he did that several
Straw
times
man.
last
So
night.
it's essentially the straw man.
Well, he wasn't setting up a straw man argument. He was establishing whatever the principle was, and then making this anecdotal connection so that you go with him where he wants you to go.
Right.
And he talked about these folks that are, they make your beds.
Right.
And they make $2 and they pick your fruit. First of all, if you're a Mexican or an immigrant
What
of some
an
sort
ins-
from anywhere,
what an
and he's
ins-
talking about Mexicans for the most part.
Yeah.
You're going, what the hell is this guy talking about? What am I, just some slave? somewhere?
Yeah, it was insulting.
Well, that's how he views them.
But he was trying to get in the minds of people to say, you're abusing these people with $2, and you're slaves, and we just want to bring them into the free world. And
See, anti-colonialism.
The immediate response is factually, whoa. And I saw a bunch of people today wanting a refund on their immigration costs. You hear about that?
Yeah.
No.
They're saying, oh, Obama, I waited in line for 10 years. It cost me $50,000 to navigate the system to become a citizen. I did everything right. It cost me money. Send me my money back if you're going to let people breaking the law in who are making $2,
Well,
give me my money back.
Let me tell you something. If this is where the Democratic Party is going to be screwed on this. Think of all the legal, good American Hispanic voters in this country that are going to look at this and say, whoa. I did it the right way. I paid everything. I filled out the paperwork. I've been paying for taxes. Why are these bumps? Because there is no solidarity amongst the Hispanic people. There's too many of them. You know what I mean? And
That's a good point.
excuse me, the ones that came here legally, they're not going to vote for the Democratic Party because of this.
No, not at all. And the second point that got me, and we'll develop this more in the week ahead, but I want to get to what we think we can do. The second point is this: are we going to? Here, watch. Come a little tighter.
All right, yeah.
I could do the same stuff he does.
Okay.
My fellow Americans, are we going to disrupt and break up these families and send them away? Are we going to do that? Or are we going to understand our roots as good Americans and bring families, loving families together, children with their parents? That's what we are with America. That's what we are all about. Please join. I could do the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
But here's the point.
Okay, I changed my mind,
Here's
Tom.
the
That
point.
was pretty good.
Here's the point. Where are they going, these people?
Right.
What are we throwing them into a meat grinder? Those machines in the scrap yards that grind up the cars.
Like
Get
Saddam
that
Hussein
little
had.
kid, throw him in the machine, and squash him up. They're going to where they live. They're going back to their country where they live, where their roots are, their family, their culture, their
No,
history.
they're going to send the parent to one country, a kid to another country, and the other kid to another country.
Well, hold
They're
on,
never going to
well,
see
They're
each other
going
again.
back to where they came from, their own country.
What happened to these kids in the first place? They got taken. Their families
Out
got
of their country.
their families got ripped apart, and they dropped them off in America with an uncle or an aunt or whatever. They put it. The
They
parents
tore their families apart.
They tore their families apart.
I'll
not
I'll
us.
make a great argument. The best thing in the world for the folks that have been here for 5-10 years and families and all this is to now you understand what America is like. You see the beauty of this. Now go back to your country, You could come back here, go back to your country. We're going to get you back there and get in line and come back and work real hard because you know how good it is. But you have to go back because I want to go to the White House. Or I want to go in line to a movie or whatever where Obama's in line. I want to cut in front of him and see what he says.
What are you talking about?
It's that simple. It's cutting in front of someone else.
Here's another thing. He was talking about the higher end jobs. With the Microsoft, the Facebooks, and with the whole Grover Norquist and the H-1B visas. He says, do we want to educate these people here and then have these people leave here and go start businesses in their own countries? Yes, we do.
Yes,
we absolutely do. Because this way, then, instead of being third world countries, they can come up to the second world and then the first world instead of everyone coming here. What kind of insane thing is that for him to say that we don't want people to get educated here and then go back to their countries and build businesses and be successful? Of course we do.
Of course we do. At 30 minutes after 4 o'clock on Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday, 21 November 2014, Tom Trento, WSBR, 7:40 a.m. on your radio. Hi, everybody. Crazy day.
Yeah.
But along those same lines, we have good Americans that travel to foreign countries and live and work there for years at a time. It's a wonderful experience. Let's take those who are lawbreakers, felonious lawbreakers. Let's say, we're not going to put you in jail, but we're certainly not going to reward you. We're going to send you back to your country. View it as you now going to, if you want to view it, a foreign country to work for a while. Go reestablish your roots there. We'll give you some money. We'll help you out. We'll get you back there. Your stupid government ought to help you out, whatever country we're sending you to, back where you came from. And then reestablish yourself there. It's going to be a lot easier than reestablishing yourself here. And get in line the proper way to migrate back to the United States. That's all. So now how do we solve this thing? With the thing being the president's disregard and circumvention of the United States Constitution.
Well, I'm kind of agreeing with Andrew McCarthy. I know we have a solution for this. It's
What did he say, Andy?
Andy McCarthy says impeachment. It's the only solution. He goes, that's what it's in the Constitution for. It is a political remedy written into the Constitution to say, no, you cannot do this. Congress has to step.
Wait, I got to modify that a little bit because I've been following him very closely. He's not arguing for impeachment.
No, he's not arguing for what I'm saying, but he says that's the only solution.
Well, he's saying there is the legal solution of the courts. The political solution is impeachment. He says, but in order to have impeachment, you need the body politic in 100% agreement with you, the majority,
right?
And which they're not now. So he says impeachment is not an option. It's just at this point, the political environment is not sufficient to impeach, though
because we have
moving more that way.
We have weak people in Congress.
And the other part is, you know how long these things take. He's got less than 2 years, this guy, and it'd be just a debacle. What needs to happen is, it's not going to be impeachment.
I know it's
not. What do we do
immediately
regarding this? Come on in, everybody. Come on in.
I say we deputize Manny Vega and let him arrest him.
Is he really going to try to arrest the president?
I don't know.
But it's a nice idea.
It's a nice idea.
Hello, Manny, if you're watching.
A virtual arrest.
A virtual arrest.
That's our buddy Manny in Washington.
Manny the Marine.
Manny the Marine. We've heard, not through the grapevine, but he puts it out on his web pages and everything that they're going to go arrest the president for all of this.
It's amazing.
But that's the role of our federal system. All right, other suggestions, because we can bitch and moan and complain all day long about how bad this is. What needs to happen?
Stuff to get to.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Well,
I don't know. We got something coming out today that's very important.
Well, hold on.
That?
Up in Missouri, man.
Oh yeah,
and the tie-in to the
we
got to hit that.
We'll get there real quick. But no, one of the solutions I do like is block all the federal judge appointments. That's nothing. Everything he does, you block, and that's as much as you can financially and
Yeah, but that
legally.
that's a good tactic, kind of get even tactic for the
Well,
Senate.
it's not to get even. It's like you
Stop the onslaught. Sure.
Stop this. Repeal your executive
But
order.
if you're Boehner right now, if you're an advisor to Boehner, and the typical advisor in Mark, you're in your late 40s, early 50s. The typical advisor to these congressmen is like a 22-year-old kid right out of Georgetown, right?
Right.
So you have a few more years of wisdom. I mean, what do you tell Boehner? Okay, Boehner, what do you do now? Does he? One of the options is to take the credit card away from Obama and not fund any of these activities or shut the government down.
But he can circumnavigate.
Boehner's not going to, and neither is McConnell. They both have Grover Norquist and K Street so deep in their pockets, it is not going to happen. Guaranteed.
Do you think
want this to
Grover
happen.
last night was going, yeah,
Grover was doing cartwheels.
Yeah, he
Grover
was.
was doing cartwheels, and so was Suhail Khan doing cartwheels last night. You know how much money Suhail Khan earned yesterday?
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
He earned all those years of money yesterday.
And we're talking about
Yeah.
our Wizard of K Street series, folks. Go on our archives, theunitedwest.org. You can find our archives there, I hope. Or you can go to youtube.com/theunitedwest. Put in the search bar, the Wizard of K Street. We did about 10 or 15 shows on the Wizard of K Street, Grover Norquist, who's a Republican, an expert on the tax issue, but who has, in a nefarious way, really helped ruin this country, particularly with bringing the Islamic influence into the White House, the Bush White House, carrying over into the Obama White House, but also on immigration issues where Grover and Suhail and these wizards
H-1B. So.
the H-1B visas bring in the high-tech people. Let's keep them here. Let's blow off the visa lengths. All of this is right in their wheelhouse. The new immigrants coming in to make tons of money on K Street. So they're rooting and cheering. But you would think a Republican would want to keep Lex above Rex. Well, we got to add a third dynamic in there. Lex, Rex, and money.
Right.
Money for these people trumps everything. It goes above the law. It goes above politics. If they can make money, they don't care where Lex or where Rex fits in. And this move by the president is going to cost so much money because many of these millions of people that are going to be coming in now are going to take jobs from other people that are working. Oh, well, they're already working doing the low end jobs. They're going to want benefits. They're not paying taxes right now if they're making $2 an hour.
Right.
So they're not making $2 an hour. Let's get that straight.
But now they're going to want the earned income credit. Because now you're on your path to citizenship and you got to get the benefits. So we're gonna have to pay these people.
They're going to get
more
Medicaid
money.
benefits.
Well,
School, all this stuff.
How many? I mean,
Well,
Here's the argument. If those don't exist right now, the argument's very simple. Well, we brought them in. Now we have to take care of them. You can't bring a person into your home and not feed them.
Medicaid,
Right.
Social Security. Let me tell you something.
disaster.
This country already has almost $200 trillion with a T, almost $200 trillion in unfunded liabilities. We just added so many more trillions last night. Look around. We're in Palm Beach County. You look around. All these immigrants are not young and working. I can't tell you what percentage of them are older women who are not working, who will be in line for Medicaid, who will be receiving Social Security.
well, yeah.
I just got back from Israel, as you guys know. And
Yeah.
I'm playing around in my head. If something like this were to happen in Israel, where another country threw the Jews out, the Israelis would open up their arms and say, "Come back home."
Yeah, it happened in
We want you
1948,
home.
Tom.
But even now, we want you home. Come. And they provide everything for them home. Why doesn't Mexico or the Sudan or whatever country these people are from, any South American or Central American, a lot of them are coming out of Central America now.
Yeah, Guatemala.
Guatemala and
El Salvador.
Nicaragua. Why don't those countries say, "We want you back. Come on, you're our sons and daughters."
It goes back to what I just said before about this idiot president saying, do we want people getting educated here and then going back and opening business? Yes, these are terribly underdeveloped. Barack, how stupid are you to say that we don't want these people to go back and make their own countries better?
But has nothing. This all of this has nothing to do with immigration.
Oh, it does to an extent.
No,
I mean,
it doesn't. I mean,
what is that? You think it's just his?
No, I think it's his ego. Listen, Barack Obama, time and time again, when he had the opportunities, I'm not just talking about the 2 years. Every time he's had a chance to vote on immigration, it has been, he blows it off.
Listen,
even during the Bush years. Now, let me finish on this. This has everything to do with his ego and everything to do with who he thinks he is in power.
All right, we'll grant that point, but the implications for immigration are...
No.
Yeah.
He just transformed the country like he wanted, like he said he wanted to.
Yeah.
With the stroke of a pen, he transformed the country. He further crippled it economically.
All right, so what do we do about it?
The next election.
Who does what?
That's the only thing
You
we got
don't
left.
elect Hillary Clinton as the next president, because if you do,
that's. I mean,
it's
if you really
it.
boil
It's
it down to
over.
the end, it's 2016.
All right, folks, we're going to sum up this little rant on our part at 41 minutes after 4 o'clock by simply saying you don't make policy decisions through anecdotal illustrations about poor little people that need some help. You're running a very big company, a very big operation, the United States of America. You must maintain the rule of law in order for the stability and the coherence of this country and the fabric of this country to be kept together. If you want to deal anecdotally, you could set up a metrics of some sort where you say, okay, we got 3 million people we're looking at. Let's identify, as we've done in the past, serious political refugees who are going to be killed if they go back to their country. And I worked with one in Vietnam. And a friend of mine, when I was in Vietnam and he got into some trouble, he escaped. And the United States spent 11 years trying to get this guy back to Vietnam. And I had to testify at his final federal trial that if he goes back to Vietnam, he's a dead guy. That's not anecdotal. That's a real situation, happened in real life just a few years ago. And we have a mechanism in place. It worked perfectly. The U.S. attorney that was working to get this individual, sent back to Vietnam after I testified in a closed hearing in an immigration court, which never happens. It's a public court. He came up to me and thanked me. The attorney, U.S. attorney, trying to send this guy back for revealing this sensitive information about him eventually getting killed. The structure was there. That attorney then turned on the side of the individual, and he's now on a pathway to citizenship.
Right.
Okay? So we addressed that
We have
individually.
right.
We didn't say everybody from Vietnam is in because
Come on
the country.
in, y'all.
Hey, come
Y'all
on
come
in.
back
right?
now.
And
So if you got a situation somewhere, you address it. We have enough. Maybe we need to hire more federal workers to figure out how to approach these issues.
that doesn't cost any money.
Yeah,
and
right, right.
and just give you guys a little crystal ball out there in listener land. If you want to see how this all ends, go to Europe and look what's happening in the Netherlands, in France, when they have a blanket open door policy to Islam, Muslims across the world. They just let them in. They came in and they didn't assimilate. They came in and they took over.
Well, you raised a
areas.
very good question. For the most part, we're talking about people from Central America, South America, and Mexico, because that's the border, the southern border is so
Right.
close. People they
Well,
drive their
he just-
bicycles across.
Also, he just gave blanket pardon, amnesty, whatever you want to call it, to all these people who have been here as from Middle Eastern countries who do not have our best interests
Is there
in
a
heart.
distinction
No.
between those? Now,
Yes.
what's going to keep more of them from coming in?
Nothing.
He said, you have to have been 5 years, and it just doesn't apply to anybody coming now.
How's he going to know that if you're here illegally?
How do you? Hold on.
Come on.
When I cross the border, I swipe my time card on it. Okay, and that's
And well, the other issue is that
ridiculous.
that it's a slippery slope argument that we see all the time. Once you let them in, let's say out of this group of 3 or 5 million, whatever the number is, there's 400,000 Middle Eastern people, 300,000 of whom are
Terrorists.
Sunni Muslims who are Sharia compliant, right? So we got 300,000 Sharia compliant Muslims.
And let's take the numbers. Now we know from facts and figures, 10% minimally, and we'll even cut that by a tenth, if you want. Let's just say it's 1%.
3,000.
We just let in 3,000 terrorists.
Okay, but from
trust me, it will be
We want
much
to
more.
blow
It is
stuff
not
up.
only you're being so silly. It is much more than 1%.
but from the president's
Silly man.
Weltanschauung worldview, from the president's worldview, those Muslim jihadis that are here, they're brothers
Yep.
and they're sisters. And
They're just as
moms,
patriotic
their
as you and me,
dads
Tom.
Are still back in the Sudan.
They're freedom fighters.
Or in Afghanistan.
They're freedom
or in
fighters.
Iraq. We need to unite these families. So I know I said a couple of years ago that it doesn't apply to anybody now coming, but we're Americans. We have to change.
I said no family splitting. That abrogates it.
That's what's going to happen. And now, here's what's really offensive. He is on record so much as saying, all of you want me to just wave my magic wand, Froggy, and let everyone in.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
I'm not an emperor. He actually used those
yes, you
terms.
did.
Well, he's become the emperor, thus the picture behind.
Well, that's because he lost full control of the Congress. So he wasn't forced to be emperor before.
No.
Now
Right,
he's
exactly.
forced to be emperor.
Now, let's make the segue to our Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday.
Are we renting segways?
One of the things here on our script that I worked so hard putting together,
Good thing.
Good thing, because we've
Let's
been
make this
sticking
segue.
right to it today.
because it is Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday, where we focus on our Islamic brothers and sisters who want to chop off our heads, particularly with the Islamic State as they establish the caliphate worldwide. All stuff 2 years ago that everybody said, Trento, you're a freaking lunatic talking about
You're
that
crazy.
stuff.
You're a
Today,
hateful Islamophobe.
You're a hateful Islamophobe.
Today they go, that stuff's happening.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? What do we do? Do I have to buy a gun? Do I have to lock up my head? Can I go someplace? Can I travel someplace? That's the world we're in, folks.
I'm afraid.
We
I'm
gotta
afraid.
stop.
I'm afraid.
Will a neck brace help keep the knife from going through, Trento?
Let's make the segue to the Red-Green Alliance that fits beautifully into Emperor Obama's dictate last night at 48 minutes. 48 minutes. Wow, the time.
Where does the time go?
48 minutes after 4 o'clock.
Hey, may I say,
What?
since I've changed my viewpoint, I feel much better this time with you. It flies.
It does fly. I must admit, Schmucky, it flies. And Imam Abdullah, how are you today?
I could not be any happier.
What do you think about Obama?
It is fantastic. Many, many more of my brothers and sisters will be coming. We have nothing to worry about. Like he said, we can come out from the jihadi shadows and be very proud to walk around and demand our rights and sue
have
the
work cards.
government and
get Social Security
Yes,
cards.
and what I would very much is it enables us to sue your government for civil rights violations. Now that we don't have to be in hiding.
Oh, there's a good organization we can refer you to, the Council on American Islamic
Yes, that
Relations.
is exactly who I was speaing of.
Okay, good. They,
I am here legally, by the way.
They are now a designated terrorist organization.
By whom?
By Azerbaijan? No. By Canada? No.
Is it the very wealthy Arab Emirates?
By a Muslim country that hates the Muslim Brotherhood.
Traitorous.
Yeah, the
The
United.
United Arab Emirates is Islamophobic.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
not just
let's
any
make
old.
this connection for our listening and viewing audience of the Red-Green Alliance. What does that mean, the Red-Green Alliance?
Communists and the Islamists.
The Islam is their color is green, and the hard left. Anyone influenced by a neo-Marxist, neo-Leninist viewpoint, as is our president Saul Alinsky, then you have a combining now coordination of mutual hatred. And who's that hatred focused on?
Israel and the United States.
Yeah, the West, Israel, the United States. So the beauty of this, if we now are in an Islamic think tank today on Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday, we saw what the president just did. He's opening the borders up. What is our planning to bring Islamic influence to join in? How could we tangibly, at a place in the United States today, where could we illustrate our consolidation with the hard left?
Oh, let me think about
see.
this.
Softball question.
Oh, maybe where the big grand jury is convening.
Yep. Maybe in Ferguson, Illinois. Maybe
Missouri, Ferguson, Missouri.
Same thing.
What's going on in Ferguson?
Denmark, Sweden, same thing.
Oh, same. What's going on in Ferguson?
The
Michael Brown.
grand jury is going to convene on the police officer in the Michael Brown shooting.
And this is
they've
really
already-
bizarre,
yeah.
folks. Today's Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday, where we focus on Islamic issues. And we're focusing right now on an Islamic issue taking place in Ferguson, Missouri. What? Tell them about that, Froggy.
Well, as we know, Michael Brown was shot a few months ago. He robbed a store, was caught on the street by a police officer, supposedly had a little bit of an interaction. Cop
grabbed
opened his
Free's
car
gun.
door. Michael Brown, 6'2" or 6'3", nearly 300 pounds, bashed the cop's face in, tried to get his weapon. The cop shot him several times. Several witnesses said he had his hands up. The autopsy shows that that's probably not what happened. And you have had all sorts of
oh my God,
grievance
Damon,
mongers,
you
all
were
sorts of grievance mongers threatening riots.
You're
and
such
all
a
over
hater,
St. Louis.
Damon. You're such a hater, Damon. I can't believe that. Don't you know the truth that that the cop just whipped out his gun and shot him shot him?
Why to shoot everybody?
That's the truth. That's
Well,
the truth.
the beauty of our
Just-
system-
That's what. In fact, that's what CAIR is saying. That's what happened to.
Well, hang on for CAIR. Hold on to CAIR.
Okay.
The beauty of our system is we have a very serious event that took place. Somebody's child was shot down, killed by a cop, and as much as cops take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution and property and personal life, there are bad cops out there. We all know that. I mean, I did a degree and worked in the police world with many people for years, and no, there are bad cops out there. But we have a system that evaluates what the facts are of what occurred. And we have one at a local level, but then when it's serious, we have what's called a grand jury. And the grand jury's convened, and this is a deliberation body that takes a lot of time and doesn't leave any stone unturned. They look at everything. And then there are people from the community, they're not flown in from space, and then they deliberate over the factual material, and they reach a conclusion that there's sufficient evidence for Darrell, what's his last name?
Wilson.
Wilson, to be indicted. Darren, to be indicted and to have his due process and a stand trial.
Now, understanding
for a bad shooting.
that this is not a guilty or innocent conviction. What the grand jury's purpose is not to say guilt or innocence. Their simple task is there enough evidence to warrant a trial for that the federal prosecutors must go and prosecute this crime. If they do not find sufficient evidence, they say, no, there's just not enough there to go after this guy.
No crime was committed.
No crime was
All
committed.
a grand jury does, in 2 sentences, a grand jury says, is there enough evidence to even charge anyone or not?
Yeah, and
Yep.
can you imagine, parenthetically, being one of the jurors sitting on the grand jury? Can you imagine that? Because you are from that community. You are a person that probably knows, 1 or 2 or 3 degrees of separation. Folks that have been involved in this to some extent, if you got past voir dire. Can you imagine being a juror there? And if indeed the grand jury returns its decision, its deliberation, and say, we're sorry, there is not sufficient evidence for Darren Wilson to be charged. Can you imagine the retribution on the local jurors in that place? Unbelievable. But the point we want to make right now is that a foreign group, a Muslim group, has moved in to help. Tell everybody about that.
Let's see. National Director of Muslim Civil Rights Group attends Michael Brown funeral. What
Who
might
is
that Muslim
Who-
Civil Rights
who-
Group
Who
be?
would that be?
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe the Council on American Islamic Relations.
Sounds like it. Here's another CAIR article. CAIR asks imams to devote sermons to racial equality in response to Missouri police shooting. Here's another one. Black is not a crime. Rally to be held today in New London. This is from a few months ago, but who's the contact? Oh, that would be Manji Dawadi at CAIR.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. We have a local incident of a white cop shooting a black guy, black community and others getting very upset. This is in Ferguson, Missouri. Then we have the executive director of CAIR out of Washington, D.C., traveling to Ferguson to stand in solidarity with his black brothers and sisters. This is the same Muslim religion that talks about owning raisin heads for slaves.
Yes.
That would be the one. That would be the one where if you even go to Hajj today, that black Muslims are treated as second-class citizens during the Hajj.
Yeah, there's a definite hierarchy pecking order.
Okay, so let's just say Nihad Awad looks past that and says, these are my brothers and my sisters.
Oh,
one of those
lovey.
things. And he goes and stands there.
Yeah.
What are the motivations for Nihad Awad, the executive director right there, of CAIR? CAIR now a designated terrorist organization by the United Arab Emirates.
Woohoo!
They're late to the game. We knew this all along. They're an unindicted co-conspirator in a terrorism trial. But what is going through CAIR's mind to say, Nihad, tactically and strategically, we must join with the blacks of Ferguson and stand with them? What is he trying to accomplish?
What's that that red-green alliance, and it's just they want their main objective, and so is the left. The extreme left is their objective is the destruction of Israel and the destruction of America. But the left's more interested in destroying Israel. So,
do you think the average
No. The left is more interested in destroying America.
well, I'm talking about
The red is more interested in destroying America. The green is interested in destroying
They
both.
both are close second to each other on the other
You go
issues.
either way, actually.
Do you think a Sunni Muslim educated person like Nihad Awad, he's from Gaza, and he's accomplished all of this stuff. Do you think he looks on a street thug a black street thug in Ferguson as equal to him in any level?
No,
No,
he views
absolutely.
the whole situation as an opportunity to further destabilize the United States, to
And how
destroy
many
our
Muslims?
miserable house from within
How many
using our
Muslims?
own hands.
How many Muslims in America?
3 to 6 million.
No. 1.2 to 2.
2007, 2010, Pew came out, 2.3 million. Pew Research, 2.3 million. That's it. How many black people in America?
17%.
About 30, 40 million.
Right. Now, also,
If you're thinking tactically, strategically long range, do you want these 30 million people on your side?
Yes.
Of course.
now also,
Look at Prislam.
also you look, and well, that's another subject altogether because that's where they get Prislam in is to the black community.
Islam in prisons, folks.
And-
Different from Chrislam, Islam, and Christianity. And we're going to talk about that too.
But you come back to the point is also CAIR Nihad Awad is looking at one big huge thing too. This is a huge money base. Look at the Al Sharptons. Look at the Jesse Jacksons. Look how much money they're raking in. And this is another just channel for money to, hey,
You're right.
we're Muslims. We're working with you. Give us money. And
I'm sure they got a short list of donors, CAIR. We got about a minute left here. They got a short list of donors, CAIR. Just like Sharpton, he now is sending fundraising letters to his donors saying, we got to stand with our brothers and sisters in Ferguson. I need you to send me more checks. He's shaking down corporations. That's what CAIR is doing now. They're saying that in the struggle for human rights and for justice, they talk about justice, we can consolidate with our black brothers and sisters in America. You need to send us a lot of money. And you know he's hitting up various Islamic countries and Islamic leaders in America for money to take this stand, talking tactically and strategically. We get these suckers on our side. It's going to help us with our hope to establish the caliphate here in America. All right, we got like 20 seconds. Quick thoughts from you guys, then I'll sign it, wrap it up.
welcome to the new world. It's going to get worse. He's going to double down further, and further. And you think this is as bad as it gets? You got another thing coming.
Get ready for a crazy weekend in Missouri. And We've been talking about the Red Green Alliance a long time, and it's only getting stronger.
I need that music to go out on that.
I was.
You were thinking it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want a good society, keep Lex above Rex. Not Rex above Lex. Think that through over the weekend. See you Monday. Bye.